MTN SME Hub. Link to growth, link to success, link to the ultimate resource for business advice and insights.
Welcome to the Big Small Business Show, the show for all our wonderful entrepreneurs out there. And there are entrepreneurs out there who are helping other entrepreneurs, and such entrepreneurs are at the Big Small Business Show studios today. They are Melisa Evans and Ayanda Mzondeki, and they are the founders of AfroFuture Tech. Let's take a look.
AfroFuture Tech's areas of specialization is focusing on youth, women, and people with disabilities. I think for us, our core focus is how do we bring market access to these specific groups and also providing the opportunity for them to grow.
We do this through collaboration with other entrepreneurs, other women in business, youth, and so on, and including investors, VCs, angel investors, to come and educate and share information with these entrepreneurs. Not only share information, but show them what it looks like to network, to maximize on your networks, to maximize on the information that you have at your fingertips, so that you could scale your business 10x, hopefully in the next 5 years or so. AfroFuture Tech is 5 years old, and like any other 5-year-old,
Still crawling.
we're crawling. We are teething. I don't know. We're having tantrums. It's been challenging. At the same time, it's been quite rewarding. You know, when you look at your baby and you see your baby going through the milestones, and now they can say their first couple of words. So it's been, for me, it's been quite fulfilling, and it's been a growth process. The number of entrepreneurs that have impacted is the reason why we keep going when it comes to AFT, because like any other business, it's always different. Running my own business, Lema Consulting, is different from running AfroFuture Tech with Mel, for instance. And having a business partner, to be honest with you, has been quite refreshing. When I'm tired, I'm like, tag you in.
I think that's the best part of it.
That's the best part of it, yes.
One of our potential challenges right now is how do we monetize our business for the next 10 years? While we're very clear of what our value proposition is from an impact business perspective, is how do we make sure in the next 10 years it's sustainable? And how do we take the solution and the connections that we're constantly creating and package it to be attractive for potential investors, because that is our core focus, is bringing investors, bringing Africa to the world and bringing investors to Africa. But how do we make sure we get that piece right?
And the investors, I think for us, it's not necessarily the VCs and the angel investors.
Exactly.
It is also our clients. We see our clients as our investors, because they then help the company become sustainable in whichever form, be it that they're giving us grants, but you don't want to depend on grants, but you want to then get more business from the clients. But how do we, how do you monetize sustainably a for-profit impact business? It's quite a challenge.
So the question now is really about revenue or profit. Like how, when you're growing a business and you're scaling a business, do you get market share or do you focus on the profits? But before I answer that question, let me ask a few questions, if I may. How do you grow right now? What is your method of growing?
Sure, that's an interesting question. Because when we first started the business, we knew how to grow our own individual businesses. So we went into collaboration and started this business. So how we grow right now compared to how we were growing previously is that we have got a strategic overview as to where we want to go in the next 5 years. What needs to be in place, what processes need to be in place, and what type of people need to be in our business in order for it to grow.
Okay. And how are you getting your clients? Are you doing it through marketing? Are you doing it through knocking on doors? Is it through your business and you sourcing that into a central business? And then maybe a touchy one is what happens if you bring in a lot more than she does?
Which is something that we're constantly trying to review. So in terms of our client base, I think what we've learned through AfroFuture Tech is tapping into, firstly, existing clients that we have and being quite clear upfront in terms of how we're going to engage. But we've also had the amazing opportunity of opening wide in terms of who the network base is. And we're finding that as we're going along, we're constantly refining it, but being very clear, who is our customer is one of our key questions that we're constantly asking. But also the value system helps. So yes, to go back to that question, it has happened, and it's been honest with each other upfront in terms of, you know, how are we going to build a client and what's the revenue spent on each client.
I was very interested in when I was doing the research, you spoke about that value system. It's very important to you both.
Very.
It feels like somebody has broken that value system in the past.
But that's not the story for now. But yeah, sometimes you have to go through the challenges as an entrepreneur. As you're making the mistakes, you learn by making those mistakes and going back and sitting and realizing this is where we went wrong. We're actually not clear in terms of our value system and the business value system, or our culture, and is it aligned to everyone else's perception of our culture.
Coming back to the revenue, you've had quite nice growth over the last couple of years. Is that revenue smooth or chunky? In other words, do you have it across a few clients and then you got a great deal and then it ends? I think I know the answer now. Okay, but do you want to clarify that without a smile?
We were actually talking about it just before we came in to have a chat with you. And we were talking about how in the first 2 years of business, we had to bootstrap our business. And we were literally taking money from our pockets to make this business run. And there was no revenue, minimal revenue coming in. We're not making profit. We're not even breaking even. And I think when you look back and you analyze the time period in which that was happening, it was around COVID time. So it was lockdown. We were frustrated. And in the past 3 years, we've now grown year on year, 50%, about 50% on revenue growth. And our GP percentage has gone up, which is quite exciting.
True.
So yes, it is very difficult to also have a client that is sitting at 60% of your revenue because you're constantly going, we could go into
concentration risk.
Yes,
exactly.
Concentration risk.
When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Melisa and Ayanda. Stay tuned.
MTN SME Hub, link to business success.